Good morning, my viewers, the parents, the teachers, and students as well. It is another Saturday for Easy Numbers. Now, last weekend, I was talking about multiplying even numbers by any 5, whereby I mean any 5 was a 50, was a 500, a 5,000, a 5 million, whatever it was. And for even numbers, I said, you simply take half of the number and add on as many zeros as the number of digits in the 5. Examples: if I have 2486 to multiply by 5,000, I would really see that answer mentally. What I'll do is to take a half of 2486, which is 1243. And then, because the 5 I'm using has 4 digits, I'll simply add 4 zeros at the end of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my answer would be 12,430,000. And I could see this answer mentally because I know how 5 behaves in multiplication. You simply take half of the number and then add on as many zeros as the number of digits in the 5 you're using. Now, today I'm going to talk about multiplying odd numbers by 5. Odd numbers by 5. You see, when the multiplicand is odd and the multiplier is 5. What do we do in that circumstances? All we do is again to take half of the number. But there will always be a remainder. When you divide any odd number by 2, there is always remainder 1. So I advise that you throw away that remainder and then just return the same 5 you're using at the end of that answer, so that it is even much easier than multiplying by even numbers. Let me show you examples. We are now dealing with odd numbers to be multiplied by 5, any 5. So when we have 263 to multiply this by 50, and you see now 263 is an odd number, but still go ahead and take half of it. A half of this number is 131. Remainder 1. Throw away that remainder and complete your answer with the 5 you are using. In this case, you are using 50. Put 50 at the end, and that is your answer. It is so simple that even grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 children can start multiplying large numbers mentally. So let's have a few more examples so that we are completely acquainted to this. 171 times 500. You see, 171 is an odd number, but go ahead and take half of it. Half of it will be 85. Remainder 1. So 85 remainder 1. Throw away that remainder and complete your answer by the 5 you're using. Since you are using 500, just dump 500 at the end, and your answer is 85,500. This is supersonic multiplication. used by people who understand the behavior of numbers. People who are called geniuses. That's the way they would multiply by 5 in odd numbers. 337. I want to multiply this by 5,000. And somebody starts to think that this is a very large number. But to the trained person, it's a very small thing. You are going to take a half of 337. There will be remainder 1. Throw away that remainder and complete your answer by 5,000. Let's go. 2 goes there once. Into 13 goes there 6. Into 17 it goes there 8. And then it remains 1. Throw away that remainder and just complete your answer with the 5 you are using. Since you are using 5,000, just dump 5,000 at the end. And therefore your answer becomes 1,685,000. See how beautiful a multiplication by 5 is. And I want you to understand it so that you never bother about 5 multiplications. If somebody then gives you 43 times 500, then you are going to see half of 43 as 21, throw away the remainder, and then you complete it by 500 that you're using, and that's your answer. I've done experiments in classroom with small kids, and they have multiplied faster than their own teachers. 287 by 50. We have gone to take a half of 287 as 143. Remainder 1. We have thrown away that 1, and we have just completed our answer by 50, the multiplier we are using. And the answer is 14,350. Mathematics is joy. Mathematics is fun. Mathematics is play. The only difficult thing about mathematics is the way it is taught, not the subject itself. You see, if you understand numbers, then you are a master of mathematics. It is unfortunate that many of our mathematics books in this country miss out on this. This is the missing link in our mathematics. That although we are taught how to calculate mathematics, nobody has taught us the properties of individual numbers, their behavior when they interact with others, in addition, in subtraction, in multiplication and division. So that's a big missing link. And this missing link is in the area they call computation. So that children now have a problem on how to compute. They know what to do. They know that I've got to multiply this number by this number. But then the multiplication itself becomes a menace because our children have not been taught about the behavior of numbers. This is why I'm taking the trouble to let every child that comes in touch with me a number wizard, so that every child can manipulate numbers at a speed faster than that of a knife passing through butter. And that's why I'm handling individual numbers. You remember in previous lessons I handled the number 1, I handled the number 3, I handled the number 6, I handled the number 9. I'm handling the number 5. So I'll give you a few more examples. We are dealing with odd numbers. Just take half of the number and throw away the remainder and complete your answer with the 5 you're using. And it does not matter how big the problem may be, you'll do it in one line only. 88889 times 50000. And the untrained will see this as a very big problem. And the child I'm training will see a half of this answer. A half of this problem here is 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Remainder 1. Throw away the remainder. And then complete your answer with the 5 you are using. The 5 you are using is the one we call in mathematics 50,000. Just dump 50,000 at the end. 50,000. And then that is now your answer. It's about 4,444,450,000. And you can see that I'm putting my answer in only one line. I'm not spending a lot of time scratching my head, counting my fingers on how to multiply large numbers by 5. I give a formula in one sentence. Just take half of the number, throw away the remainder, and complete your answer by the 5 you are using. If you are using a single 5, that is what will be at the end. If you are using 50, that is what will be at the end. If you are using 500, that is what will be at the end. But just take half of the number. And now this brings me to an interesting thing in the classroom that teachers want to teach like this. 246.3 that they want to teach like this, dividing by 2. This is ridiculous nonsense. You cannot teach a child to divide by one single digit divisor on a long division. What are tables there for? Teach a child to master the tables and then teach a child short division. Let us see what happens on the long division, which will cost a child a lot of time to look for half of this number. So he will say 2 goes into 2 once. Because of 2, subtract, it remains 0, drop 4. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. Because of 4, subtract, remains 0, drop 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Because of 6, subtract, remains 0, drop 3. So 2 goes into 3 1 time. Because of 2, subtract, remainder 1. And then they say remainder 1. This is a hell lot of waste of time. Don't teach children long division methods if the divisor is one digit teach children short division methods so that they can be able to see a half of the answer at a glance. In that kind of method is always written in this manner. Two, three, 4, 5, 7 is written like this. So that a child just says, it is 1, it is again another 1, 1 remains here is 14, it is 7, nothing remains there, into 5 is 2, it remains 1 into 17 is 8, and then remainder 1. So this is the method, short division method, that will help any child see half of the number mentally. Long division is good only for maybe 2 digits divisor, 3 digit divisor, and so on. So let children practice short division extensively for the purpose of taking a half of the number. Because a half of the number is so important in 5 multiplications. And 2 and 5 are brother and sister. They are so related, they work together. So I don't want to see long division again in the classroom if it's 1 digit divisor. That is poor mathematics. Okay. Then sometimes when they are setting problems, they have either plain numbers like these ones we have been dealing with, or they have numbers that I call numbers that end in zeros, or they have then numbers with decimals. So let's look at a problem like this one. 23.7 multiplied by 0.05. When somebody finds that this is a difficult problem and yet it's a mental problem, how do we work numbers with the decimals? My advice is set aside the decimals and deal only with plain numbers. What I mean is set aside the decimals and remain with only 237 times 5. Here is now a number that has no decimals in it. Then go ahead and multiply the way I've taught you. It is an even number, so take half of the number, throw away the remainder, and then complete your answer by the 5 you are using. This is how it is. Half of this number is 118, remainder 1. Throw away that remainder. Now complete your answer by the 5 you are using, which is just single 5. And that's now the multiplication of 237 times 5. When you reach there, you now say, oh, this problem had decimals. You go back and return the decimals that you had set aside. And how many were they? There's 1 in 23.7, and there are 2 in 0.05. Total number of decimal places, 3. Put 3 decimal places in your answer. So 123 will have a decimal here. And the correct answer of 23.7 multiplied by 0.05 is 1.185. And you can do that without this step here. You can go straight on and see 237 times 5 in that, and then 1185, and then put 3 decimal places. So when you are dealing with problems that have decimals, set aside the decimals, work the plain numbers, and return the decimals. It is so important that you do that. Let me give you another example of decimals again. Yeah. Let us say we have 1689.233. And I'm going to multiply by a number like 0.005. See, this under normal circumstances should scare a child in primary. And still, students in the secondary school will be dashing for calculators. But my trained student ignore the decimals and multiply as if it was a number without any decimals. And that means 1689,233 times 5. Where I will go for half of the number, and because it is odd, I'll throw away the remainder and complete my answer by the 5 I'm using. So let's look at this. So this would be 8, 4, 4, 6, 1, 6, remainder 1. And I throw away that remainder, and I complete my answer by the 5 I'm using. So I would assume this is just a single 5. So I'll put 5 at the end. Now when I come back to the problem, I now remember that there were decimals in this problem. So how many decimals were there in the problem? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 decimals in the problem. And therefore I'm going to insert 6 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then my answer is going to be 8.446165. And you can see that I'm getting my answer in one line. You don't have to work a whole sheet of paper so that you are seen to be working. I gave you an example of a power saw tree cutter, and one using an axe and one using a panga. You see, the results are what is important. If a tree has to fall within 5 minutes, then you are not going to go for a panga, you are not going to go for an axe. You're going to go for a power saw. And all these are lessons in nature we learn, that there are many ways of killing a rat. But the most poorest way of killing a rat is the one whereby you burn the house in which the rat is. Of course, you'll have killed the rat, but then you will not be congratulated. So pick on methods that can take you through your life And the mistake many of us make is to teach children to pass exams. Never. That's a wrong notion. We are teaching children to be successful in life, not to pass exams. If you look at the industry like the building construction industry, there are many masons in there who can do the job much better than university graduates who have done architecture. And this guy has no paper, but he will get the hypotenuse of that triangle so fast as he's looking for the square. So papers should not be the driving force behind our education. Our education should be such that we can be able to use it in our future life effectively. And so when I give methods that will get you there, take them, because there will be a time when counting on fingers will be gone. In fact, calculators are now starting to remove the counting on fingers. Somebody takes out his phone and taps on the calculator, which is okay. My only question is, what are you as a person? What do you have in the head? So you must be equipped with knowledge in the head. And you should always strive to answer the question, what else is new? Because this is a changing world. And many new methods are coming up. Some that are more effective. Even in the world of medicine, they are discovering newer methods that are more and more effective than the previous medicines. So you must strive in answering what else is new in a changing world. I know that somebody else is thinking of getting that problem in a much shorter way than what I've given, which is quite okay. If we are advancing knowledge, that is the best we can do for this universe. So don't train our children to pass exams. Some people are making a livelihood without having passed any exam. But they are making a livelihood because they are producing the desired results. So let our children be able to produce the desired results. And it does not matter which way they are using. And there are people who will try to suppress our children's genius in the mind by making children believe that they are the only ones who know. Now I want to tell you that that child knows what you don't know. Because in the world there is always somebody who knows what somebody doesn't know. I know what you don't know, and you know what I don't know. And that is what life is all about. So never thwart the genius in the child's brain by saying, this is the only method. Who taught you that? That is stupid. That's rubbish. And then our children are demoralized. They stop their research mind. And therefore, they don't discover anything. They only conform to what the teachers have told them. Very poor way of teaching. Let children be free to explore wherever they want. At the back of my mind, I know that we learn by mistakes. Let children make as many mistakes as they can in their knowledge. They will discover so many things that you even don't know. So, that is how we multiply by 5 in odd numbers. So I've given you 2 methods now. When you're multiplying by 5, if it is an even number, just take half of the number and then add as many zeros as the number of digits in the 5 you're using. That means if you are using 500, 500 is a 2-digit 5, a 3-digit 5, put 3 zeros. If you are using 5,000, 5,000 is a 4-digit 5, put 4 zeros, if it's an even number. But if it's an odd number, you again just take half of the number and throw away the remainder. And then complete your answer by the 5 you are using. So those 2 methods of dealing with 5 in even and in odd should be mastered. So that when somebody tells you that a bicycle in a shop goes for 5,000 shillings, the cost of a bicycle in a shop is 5,000 shillings. In 1 year, the bicycle dealer sold 2463 bicycles. 2,463 bicycles. How much money did this bicycle dealer make in that year from the sale of bicycles? Then you look at 5,000 and you look at 2463. You go for half of 2463 by putting 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and 1 here, and remainder 1. Throw away that remainder. And then come to the 5 you're using. It is 5,000. Dump 5,000 at the end. So 5,000. Then when you sector this number, you'll find that this bicycle dealer realized 12,315,000 from the sale of bicycles in that year. And you'll not have struggled so much. The words will not have confused you. I told you that words are like clothing, but you must remove the words and get the naked numbers. Those are the ones you deal with. There's no mathematics that you will do if you are not dealing with figures. So in that way, you become a master of this thing here. And our books on mathematics, unfortunately, do not teach the behavior of numbers. They only give problems dealing with the numbers, and they ask you to solve the problems. It's like giving a layman tools of carpentry and asking him to make a table for you. And yet, you have never taught him where to use the hammer, where to use the nails, where to use the saw. And so, this person can decide to take a nail and start hammering on the hammer. Because he doesn't know which one applies where. He will take timber and start cutting the saw with the timber, instead of cutting the timber with the saw. Because he is not trained on the application of the tools he is going to use to make the table. And this is what is happening in our mathematics. We ask our students to do mathematics using numbers, and yet we have not made them understand the behavior of numbers in what we call computation. In multiplication, how does this number behave? In division, how does this number behave? In addition, how does this number behave? And interestingly, as I go around schools, it's a pity that I find that there are people in the secondary school who cannot recite the 9 tables mentally. From 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, up to 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3. Students are sitting in that class and they don't have these tables in the head. It's a shame. In my classroom, you would never proceed to the next chapter until you come back to sing for me all the tables. Because there's no problem that will not call for tables. If it's like 5,000 times 2463, this problem is calling for table 5, table 2, table 4, table 6, table 3. You must know how 5 behaves with 3, how 5 behaves with 6, how 5 behaves with 4, how 5 behaves with 2. It's a shame that teachers have students sitting in the classroom, even at Form 2, and they don't know the tables mentally. And when I tuition them, I find them now stretching their hands towards the calculator, even on a question like 5 times 6. A pity. So teachers, I think we better know the basics. Mathematics begins at numbers, and numbers go to tables, their behavior. Then from there on, we can now start working our mathematics. So schools, I have always said, invite me to just have a talk on how to perform mathematics. I may not be interested in teaching mathematics because I will be doing the job of your teachers, but I will give the missing link. The missing link like this one I'm teaching today. And what else should a student master before he can do mathematics? We need a whole lecture for the whole day to get the child understand how to go about the mastery of mathematics. And for those who are interested in getting deeper understanding of the numbers, again, I recommend that you buy my book, The Making of a Mathematics Genius. Write it down. The Making of a Mathematics Genius. Then you will multiply, you will divide, you will add like a genius. And then you will now be asking mathematics setters, bring the problem. If the problem requires a formula, then I ask the parents to buy for your children in high school, buy the high school mathematics formula. And in primary, buy the 21st century mathematics formula. Because you have to get a formula, change it into numbers, and then compute it. That's what mathematics is. Get the formula, change the formula into numbers, and then compute it. It's that simple. So schools should start inviting me to talk to their children what they really need to be masters of mathematics. They just ask children to start putting unga in boiling water. Ugali inapigwa hivi. You skip so many steps. Where is the firewood collection? Where is the pan that you are going to cook on? Where is the water that you are going to... All this we need to give to our children. What do they require to master mathematics? We just don't jump into solving a problem and the child doesn't know where to begin and where to end. So schools get to inviting me to talk to these children at any level, because many of them, even at higher level like Form 4, still don't know what is required to be a master of mathematics. So then, if you are in primary, I recommend that you have the CBC Primary Mathematics Revision book. It will take you up to grade 9. It will show you worked examples and how to solve them. If there is a formula required for that particular problem, it will show you that formula. So, CBC Primary Mathematics Revision. Get it. Parents, I'm addressing you. Let your child have that book in his library. And then the 21st century mathematics formula. Same child. Then in high school, there are what we call mathematics notes. These mathematics notes are designed per class, so that Form 1 or grade 9 will have their own mathematics notes, Form 2 will have their own mathematics notes, Form 3 will have their own mathematics notes, and Form 4 will have their own mathematics notes. These are the tools of trade for your child to score an A. So get these mathematics notes at the level of your child. And there are some schools that have never seen these notes. I would recommend you as the parent to get a complete set. It doesn't matter whether your child is in Form 4 or Form 3. Just get the full set of the notes for Form 1, for Form 2, for Form 3, for Form 4. It provides powerful revision and powerful mastery of the mathematics. Then after that, I want you to get the high school mathematics formula, because there's no maths that will be done without the knowledge of a formula. Give me any problem whose formula I don't know. I won't solve it, even if it was the simplest problem. So, formula book is so important. So parents, make sure your children have these books. And then, as a teacher, I can also help you find for other subjects like physics, like chemistry, like Kiswahili, and so on. But one book that I would want to go that is not mathematics, but a mathematician must have, is this book they call English Notes for High School. English notes for high school. Because all the subjects are tested in English except Kiswahili. Maybe some schools that do French. But all other subjects are tested in English. So you must be well polished in the comprehension and understanding of the English language before you can pass these other subjects. So that is an encompassing subject, English. For maths is tested in English, physics is tested in English, chemistry is tested in English, and so forth. Get the English notes. And the goodness with this high school English notes is that even primarians can understand. It is so simple. It talks about what they are taught in primary as it continues to talk about what they are taught in high school. So parents, have those books with you, and you will never regret, just like many parents who have gone before you have used these books I'm talking about and are very happy all the days of their life. So to get me, you call me on telephone number 0721 901 429. 0721 901 429. That is for inviting me to schools. That is for finding how to get these books. Don't look for them in bookshops, for they are not there. They are just with me. So call me as I leave the studio. We shall let you know how you can secure those important books. Until next weekend, it's bye-bye from Dr. Kundu.